Hi there, I'm Jack Canfield, and I'm really excited to welcome you to your extraordinary life plan. Over the next 6 weeks, you're going to take a huge step toward creating your ideal life. This program is designed to help you identify one big ambitious goal that will have a huge positive impact on your life and walk you through the process of creating a realistic step-by-step plan to achieve that goal, and then take action and maintain your forward momentum until that life-changing goal has been achieved. You will also be asked to do the powerful inner work necessary to become the kind of person who is capable of achieving huge goals and creating an extraordinary life. It doesn't matter who you are or what your goal is. Maybe you're a teacher, a speaker, a trainer, a therapist, or a healer, or maybe you're an entrepreneur or someone seeking to level up your career. Maybe you're in a state of transition and are looking to create the next phase of your life, or maybe you're unhappy in your job and you want to increase your income, or you're just looking for your life's purpose, or maybe you want to feel like your life has more meaning. But no matter what you're hoping to accomplish, your ultimate life plan will help you achieve it. So fasten your seatbelt. It's going to be an exciting 6 weeks. As you'll see, this program consists of 6 weekly modules, and each module consists of a video that will teach you powerful goal achievement strategies and give you the motivation and the support you need to accomplish your big goal, along with a series of assignments to help you put your learning into practice in a way that creates tangible results and accelerates your progress. Now, the videos include powerful lessons that I shared with audiences across the country in my recent One Day to Greatness series. The One Day to Greatness experience was designed to awaken people to the greatness inside themselves and inspire them to create the life they've always wanted. And your extraordinary life plan now gives you the tools to do it as well. You now have unlimited access to the teaching, tools, roadmap, and support that you're going to need to achieve greatness and create an extraordinary life for yourself by taking consistent day-to-day action towards your goals. Now, because any day in which you take action, no matter how big or small, towards creating a better life for yourself is a great day and takes you one step closer to your extraordinary life. I guarantee that if you do the work, you will achieve your big goal, because success is simply the result of a series of small actions taken consistently over time. It is in truth very simple, but simple doesn't always equal easy. Because even when you know what your big goal is and what you have to do in order to achieve it, you have to take action and keep taking action no matter what until you reach that goal. And for many people, that is easier said than done. Because when you're trying to accomplish a big goal, life will often get in your way. The people in your life will get in your way, and you will get in your way. And that's why most people fail to achieve their biggest, most ambitious goals. Take New Year's resolutions, for example. Studies show that only 8% of people who set New Year's resolutions for themselves actually achieve them, and that means 92% don't. Why don't they achieve their goals? Because most people don't follow through. They give up. They get distracted by other things that are going on in their lives, or they get discouraged by the inevitable bumps in the road, or they get scared of what will happen if they actually do achieve their goal. And that's why I've created your extraordinary life map. This course is all about the follow-through. It's about getting clear on your one big goal and then developing the mindset, the support system, and the action plan that will help you bring that goal to fruition without getting caught in any of the traps that prevent so many others from making big changes in their lives. So let's get started. What does it mean to create an extraordinary life? Well, the answer is different for everyone. But one thing holds true for all of us. Every single person on the planet is absolutely 100% capable of creating an extraordinary life for him or herself. And that includes you. You know, my friend Orrin Hudson once said that success is like knowing the combination to a lock. If you know the right combination, it doesn't matter if you're young or old, male or female, black or white, have a high IQ or a low IQ. If you live in Paris, France or Paris, Texas, it doesn't matter. The lock has to open. The problem is that most people are missing some of the numbers. And if you're missing a number in the combination, it doesn't matter how hard you work or how strongly you intend it, it's not going to happen. The same is true if you have the numbers in the wrong order. Maybe you're doing a lot of the right things, but if you're doing them in the wrong order, it doesn't work. Success is a result of doing the right thing at the right time, in the right way, in the right order. And when you understand that, you can pretty much produce any results you want, no matter whether it's health, relationships, wealth, abundance, impact in the world, or whatever it is you're looking to change for the better. Normal, everyday people can create extraordinary lives. It is absolutely within your grasp. I don't care where you are in your life right now, it's totally possible to get to wherever you want to get to. Take me, for example. I might have an extraordinary life now, but my early years were as ordinary as they come. My family was poor, and we lived in an economically depressed state with the lowest education standards in the country. My father only made $8,000 a year, and my mother was an alcoholic. We definitely struggled. I didn't get any help or encouragement or support growing up from anybody. And yet, I was able to create a multi-million-dollar business for myself and change hundreds of thousands of people's lives for the better in the process. Or consider my friend Forrest Willett. He was a successful businessman with a great career and a beautiful family, and one day he was in a car crash that sheared off part of his head and caused him significant brain damage. For a year, he was lying in bed, depressed. The doctor said he would never walk again normally or talk again normally, and so he just gave up. And then he was watching TV one morning, and he saw me appear on a popular morning show to talk about my book, The Success Principles. And the announcer said after the break, "Jack Canfield will tell you how to go from where you are now to where you want to be." And he thought, I really don't want to be in this bed anymore. So he asked his wife to go out and buy the book. He couldn't read the book himself. He had to relearn how to read and was working with a tutor who was teaching him how to read simple children's books. He had his wife read it to him at first, and then he got to the point where he could read the book himself, and it inspired and motivated him so much he eventually came and took one of our trainings and became a personal trainer and a motivational speaker. He's now traveled to places like Dubai, India, and Indonesia, speaking from the stage and making a difference in people's lives, walking, talking, and reading all the things the doctor said he'd never be able to do again. He's also written a best-selling book called Baseballs Don't Bounce. But when he first started on this journey, he was in as low a place as you could possibly get. And then there's Kabir Khan. A few years ago, I went to Malaysia to do a workshop, and when I arrived at my hotel, I found a teenager who'd been waiting for me. He'd been there from about 4 o'clock in the afternoon until 11 p.m. when I arrived, hoping to meet me when I registered. And he came up to me and said, "Are you Jack Canfield?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "I wanted to meet you. I want to be a magician. Can I come up to your room and show you a few magic tricks?" And I thought, wow, if you've been waiting all day, yeah, sure, why not? So he came up to my room, performed some magic. He was amazing. I gave him a copy of my book, The Success Principles, and I asked him to come to my seminar the next day as my guest. Well, long story short, he's now one of the premier magicians in Malaysia and has gone on to receive international fame and fortune. And then there's John Caleb from Manila. I was in the Philippines to do a workshop, and John came into the bookstore the night before where I was doing a book signing, and he said, "Can I interview you?" And I said, "Sure." And at the end of it, I said, "John, that was the best interview I've ever had. Tell me about yourself. How long have you been doing this?" And he said, "That was my first interview." And I said, "How is that possible?" And he said, "Well, I'm homeless right now, and I lost my restaurant because a friend and I were having fights about the restaurant and got so negative no one wanted to come anymore." And I asked him how much money he had, and he had like 35 pesos, which is about $1 in his possession. So I gave him a $20 bill. I gave him a copy of my book, which I had to buy from the bookstore, and said, "Come to my seminar tomorrow as my guest." Well, I come back 3 years later, and he walks in looking like this with about 10 other people behind him. He's got on a blue blazer. He's got on a great logo on the pocket, all gold. And he's got about 10 people walking behind him, all wearing the same logo on their polo shirts. I find out he's now the #1 motivational speaker and trainer in the Philippines. And I asked him how he did that, and he said, "I read your book, and I did everything in it for a year. I decided your life was perfect, mine wasn't working, so I'm going to do everything you say." He said, "And these principles work." So these are the kind of results that you can expect to experience when you take steady, consistent action towards your specific goal until you complete that goal and then choose a new goal and repeat that process again and again and again. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do is understand at the deepest possible level inside yourself that whatever it is you want to accomplish, no matter where you're at right now, you can accomplish it. You have to have an unshakable belief in that, because circumstances in your life will arise that will try to shake you out of that belief. But that's what happens when you set a big goal for yourself. The universe puts people and obstacles in your path that will challenge your belief in yourself. It wants to see how committed you are. Now here's a story that illustrates that point. Quick story, Catherine Lonigan wrote about her in the Chicken Soup for the Soul book. I also wrote about her in the Success Principles book. She was a very gifted writer, got a scholarship to go to college in Ohio, and she took her first class, was a visiting professor from Harvard running an advanced symposium on writing, and because she was in the advanced placement program, she got into this course, handed in her first paper, it came back, it said, F, see me after class. And she thought, oh my God, how could I possibly get an F? This is ridiculous. So she goes in and says, why'd I get an F? And he said, well, you can't write. That's why you got an F. She said, my whole life I've been told I was gifted. I wrote poetry. I was the editor of the newspaper. I wrote a play that was performed in high school. I've written short stories. That's how I got in here. I said, well, save your parents and the university a lot of money, change your major. She said, I want to be a journalist. And he said, well, I'm telling you, you're going to fail this course because you can't write. And so she said, well, if I fail this course, I'll lose my scholarship. He says, well, I'll make a deal with you. If you promise to switch your major, I'll give you a passing grade so you can keep your scholarship, but you got to promise to switch your major. She switched over to sociology. As one of my friends says, sociology, what do you do with sociology? You go teach other people sociology. She said, that's not a university. That's a multi-level marketing company with a track team, right? But the point being this, that she gave up her dream so she could stay in school. And she was living down in Texas. There was a murder in a town next door. A lot of journalists came into town to cover the murder. She happened to be in this restaurant where a lot of them were. And she went up to him and she said, I just want to let you guys know, because she heard them talking. She knew they were journalists. They had press badges and stuff. I just admire you guys. I think you're the best people. I always wanted to be a writer, but I never did it. And they said, well, why weren't you a writer? Did you write? I said, well, I was told I couldn't do it. By whom? Well, Harvard professor. They should know. I said, God. He said, what are they? They're academics. He said, look, I've written screenplays. I've been published, books, articles. Why don't you go home and write something? I'll tell you if it's any good. So she goes home, takes a year, and she writes a book. She sends it to him. He likes it. Send it to his editor. She likes it. Editor calls up and says, we'd like to publish your book. Now, 17 years had gone by with her not writing. One person's opinion. One person. Here's her first book, which became a movie, which earned her almost $1 million. Second book in the series, Jewel of the Now, another movie, another $1 million. Now, it's not so much about the money, but she lost 17 years of doing what she loved because she let someone else talk her out of it. Don't let anyone talk you out of your dream. What a great story, right? There's a woman who was obviously meant to become a highly successful novelist, and yet she didn't even bother to pursue that life for many years because one person told her she couldn't do it, and she believed him. I don't want any such roadblocks to get in the way of you achieving your big goal. And that's why I've designed your extraordinary life plan to not only help you identify your one big goal and create a doable plan to achieve it, but also to give you the powerful mindset tools and training that will help you become the kind of person who can achieve any goal, no matter how big. But before you decide what your big goal will be, first you need to pull back and look at the big picture and decide exactly what an extraordinary life looks like for you. So the first thing I want you to do is just think with me for a moment about what success looks like for you. For some of you, it's more success in your business and your career. So if that's true for you, just acknowledge that to yourself. And for some of you, it's wealth. There's nothing wrong with wealth. As Bob Proctor says, if you're not wealthy, the good you can do is limited to your personal space. If you have a lot of money, you can build schools in Africa that you'll never see. A friend of mine just had dinner at Oprah's the other night, and there were 4 of her girls from her school that she started in Africa that had just graduated from college in the United States, Emerson, places like that had come out to stay with her. So Oprah can do a lot of good with the $3 billion she has. So there's no embarrassment about having money. It gives you a lot of influence to make things happen that you want to see happen in the world. Health. For some of you, health is an issue. You're not as healthy as you'd like to be. You're overweight or underweight. You're not feeling the dynamic energy you want. So all these principles that we'll work with today can help you achieve goals in any of these arenas that we're looking at. Relationships. Some of you are single and you'd like to be married. Some of you are married and you'd like your partner to show up a little better, or you'd like you to show up better, or you'd like to be out of the relationship, but you don't have the courage to stand up and say, this isn't working for me. Or you'd like to have more friends, or you'd like to get healed with your sister or your brother, your father, your mother, whatever it might be. So again, if that's here for you today, allow that to be something you're looking at and working with. A deeper purpose and meaning. A lot of us are working, but we feel like it's not meaningful work. We want to do something that matters. And so that could be something you're focusing on. Emotional health, happiness, joy, inner peace. Most of the things you say you want are what we call symbols of success. I want a Mercedes-Benz. Why? Because I live on the west side of LA and everyone seems to have a Mercedes or a Lexus or a, whatever. What's the new one? The Tesla. And so you feel like, well, what would you have if you had that? Well, then I'd feel like I belong. Pull up to the traffic light, I wouldn't be in my old little Toyota Camry or whatever it is, feeling like I'm not okay. And what would that give you? Well, if I belonged, then I could be myself. I wouldn't have to try to impress anyone anymore. And if you were yourself, what would you have? Wow, I could relax and be happy. And if you had that, what would it be? Well, I'd just be relaxed and happy. So what we really want is to be relaxed and happy. But we think we have to spend $80,000 on a car to get there. And you don't. There's nothing wrong with having an $80,000 car. I have one, a Lexus. It's a great car. My wife drives a Porsche Macan, but that's not what it's about. If I had a old Chevy, I'd still be as happy because it's not about the car. As Lance Armstrong says, it's not about the bike. It's about how you feel. Everything you want is because you think it's going to make you feel a certain way. The feeling, the experience is what you're going for. And so if we go directly for the experience and start experiencing joy and happiness and love and peace and all that, and start doing the things that you would do from that space, then all that other stuff shows up. The cars, the people, the money, the jobs, whatever it is you think you want. And lastly, spiritual growth. My wife right now, her main commitment is to be enlightened before she dies. She's on the board of a meditation center and all these people. It's funny, this one guy, I went to a retreat and he said, your wife says you work a lot. I said, yeah, I do. Why? You have all the money in the world. Why don't you retire? Because I'm having too much fun. I said, what would I do if I retired? And he said, do your spiritual practices so you could be enlightened in this lifetime so you wouldn't have to come back. The Buddhist approach, And I thought, well, I don't care if I come back, I'm having a good time, But what I'm saying is there are people whose lives are now devoted to getting off the wheel of karma, as they would say, whatever. So whatever your goal is, whatever you bring here today, hold that, because we can help you achieve that. Okay, so the first step is to decide what you want. But before you do that, there are 3 very important decisions you need to make. Here's number 1. Are you willing to commit to an extraordinary life? Because all the goals and plans in the world won't help you if you aren't personally willing to make the commitment to be extraordinary and do the necessary work to make it happen. Most people aren't willing to make that commitment, and I find that so sad because life is about growth. Here's the deal. The reason to set large goals and complete them is not necessarily to get the Mercedes-Benz or the Armani suits or the big mansion, because all that stuff can be taken away. Donald Trump at one point lost everything, his casinos, his hotels, everything. And look at where he is now. No matter what you think of him, you have to admit that's quite a comeback. The reality is, everything you think makes you feel good can be taken away. Your trophy wife can die or decide to leave you. Your house can burn down. Your reputation can be destroyed. But what can never be taken away from you is who you become in the process of achieving those goals. You see, mastery is the real goal. Mastery of life, mastery of your emotions, mastery of finance, mastery of your mind through meditation and learning how to think correctly and not be telling yourself victim stories and that kind of stuff. Mastery of relationships, mastery of your physical health. We have so much information available to us today. It's on YouTube, Netflix, there's TED Talks and so on. But are we applying it? One of my friends created the term shelf-esteem. You go to workshops, you take notes, you buy books, and then you just put them on the shelf. It's the doing of it that's required. The problem is, for most of us, we simply don't do it. So here's the question I want you to ask yourself. Am I going to be ordinary or am I going to be extraordinary? That is the first decision that you need to make today. And I'd like you to take a moment to write that in your notebook right now. I commit to an extraordinary life. And then after this video, I suggest you take that piece of paper and put it somewhere you can see it every single day as a constant reminder of what you want to accomplish with your life. Okay, so the second thing you need to decide is this. What does an extraordinary life look like to you? The answer to this will be different for everyone. Now, for someone, it will be sitting in the woods somewhere, writing poetry. For someone else, it will be becoming a successful international speaker who impacts the lives of thousands. And for someone else, it's writing a best-selling book or having their own TV show, or becoming a successful in-demand architect, or starting a nonprofit organization to help the disadvantaged, or becoming a billionaire venture capitalist. Everyone is different. Your version of an extraordinary life is going to be unique to you. And you need to gain clarity on what that is before you choose a goal that's going to help you make that life a reality. Now, we're going to dive deeper into this in a moment, but first you have one more decision to make. Are you willing to take full responsibility for your life? Are you going to own your own life and be the director, producer, and star of it? Or are you going to be a victim? A lot of us are dealing in victim consciousness. We let life happen to us and then complain when things don't go the way we want them to. We blame the economy for our business's poor performance or our inability to get a better job. We blame our boss for the lack of career advancement. We blame our parents for damaging our self-esteem or our spouses for holding us back from reaching our full potential. We blame the weather for the fact that we didn't go for a run yesterday. But the fact is, the only thing holding you back is you. Now, this is true for all of us. Almost 100% of the time, we are our own biggest obstacle. But the good news is, once you realize this and come to terms with it, life gets so much easier. Since you are your own biggest obstacle, that means you have 100% total control over the situation. And you have the power to change it. In fact, you're really the only one who can. But in order to do that and make it possible for you to create the extraordinary life you deserve, you will have to accept 100% responsibility for everything that happens to you. And that means giving up all your excuses, all your victim stories, and all the reasons why you can't and why you haven't up until now, and all your blaming of outside circumstances. It's not your boss's fault. It's not the economy's fault. It's not your spouse's fault. It's not because you don't have the time or the money to make it happen. You have to eliminate such thoughts from your mind forever. And once you do, you'll be astonished at how much clearer your path to creating your extraordinary life will become. So before we continue, I'd like you to commit to taking 100% responsibility for your life and write this sentence. I am 100% responsible for everything that happens in my life. Now, we will explore this idea in greater detail in Module 3, but for now, I would like you to take that page and tape it somewhere that you can see it every day. Because every day you commit to taking 100% responsibility for your life is a step in the right direction. All right, now that you've made your 3 big decisions, it's time to go deeper into visualizing what an extraordinary life looks like for you. In the next clip, I'm going to walk you through a series of exercises designed to help you get clear on your life's purpose and how well you're currently living that purpose, and what you need to do to get more in alignment with it and what that would look like. You'll also need to learn why this is so important. This is valuable, soul-searching stuff, so let's dive into it. So I'm going to tell you what my purpose is, how I got it, and then I'm going to have you do the same exercise. So my purpose is inspiring and empowering people to live their highest vision in a context of love and joy in harmony with the highest good of all concerned. So what does that mean? I inspire you with stories. I empower you with tools to live your highest vision, not mine, yours, not the Pope's, not your parents', not your communities, but what's your highest vision for your life? In a context of love and joy, I'm one of the most unconditionally loving people you'll ever meet. We have a lot of fun doing it. And I added in harmony with the highest good of all concerned after the meltdown on Wall Street. Because what happened is so many people were only concerned about themselves and not the collective. So I'm not a socialist, I'm not a communist, but I do believe that when we make decisions, we should consider, is this for the highest good of the community, or is this going to harm other people? Do no harm, like the doctor's Hippocratic oath. I don't think we should be doing harm for our own good. I think we can do good and do well at the same time. So that's my life purpose. How I got there was this form. So the first question is to think of 2 qualities that describe you. If people were describing you and talking about you, your friends, and they say, well, she or he is really joyful, loving, focused, committed, conscious, whatever that would be. Like my wife is authentic and spontaneous. So if I said something she didn't like, it wouldn't be beyond her to jump up right in the middle of the workshop and go, that's not true. It's happened to me. We could be at a fundraising dinner where you got 8 or 9 people sitting around a table, and all of a sudden she disappears. And people go, what happened to your wife? I said, well, she's off looking for a better conversation, would be my guess, because that's what she does if she's bored. She just refuses to stay around and be bored. So, we'll walk down a beach somewhere, and if there's not a lot of people around, she'll take all her clothes off and just jump in the ocean naked. I stand there and I watch. That's great. Make sure no one steals her clothes, whatever. But that's her 2 qualities. And what she does, she gives people permission to be themselves by being herself. And she has that effect on people, So we all have qualities. Some of us have qualities like discipline, like we're like a samurai or we're like a ninja, we just get things done. Some of us are more sensitive than others. Some of us are more joyful. Patch Adams, the doctor, humor, but he's still a doctor. Uses it in the, wears red nose in the operating room and all that. So what are the 2 qualities? The next thing, well, actually, I'm going to have you do this along with me. So I'm going to give you a list of words here. These are just some ideas of qualities that people might describe about you. See if any of those relate to you, but just giving you ideas here. But if your friends were describing you and saying, well, Jack or John or Bill or Martha's qualities are, what do you think are the 2 qualities that you most love to express because it feels authentically you, that you're expressing through your life as you're being you in the world? And then write those 2 down on that page. So what are your 2? Okay? And the next question is, how do you most enjoy expressing those qualities when you're interacting with other people? So for me, it's inspiring people with stories, as you've seen me do and will continue to do, and through the Chicken Soup for the Soul books, the book we just gave you, Living the Success Principles, etc. A lot of people will say, is Jack a motivational speaker? And I go, no, he's an inspirational speaker. I was on a TV show with Deepak Chopra and John Gray. And someone said to Deepak, he said, do you read Chicken Soup books? He says, yeah. He said, do you find the stories motivational? Deepak says, no. I do not find them motivational. And I thought, oh my God, I'm going to get dissed by Deepak Chopra on CNN, And he said, on the contrary, I find them inspirational. Motivation, he said, was like a shower. You can't just take one shower. You won't have any friends after a couple of weeks. It wears off. Food. You need to eat more. He said, inspiration, he said, motivation comes from without. Somebody motivates you. He said, inspiration is when someone lights the candle inside of you. And now that candle continues to burn. It doesn't need any outside influence once it's lit. So I want you to be inspired to know that who you are and what you have inside you is enough to take you forward to where you want to go, to light the flame of your passion, the flame of your purpose. And then the other word is empowering, through running workshops, through coaching programs, through training programs. We're empowering you to achieve what you want through techniques that work, helping you develop habits that support you. And then, so go ahead and do that real quick. Here's some other words that you could kind of, I just made up this list a couple days ago to give you a sense of some possibilities. Your word doesn't have to be up there. Your word might be acting, designing, directing, choreography, choreographing, whatever it might be, painting, conducting, exploring. And so you'll write those words in there. In the next step, it says, if the world was working perfectly according to you, what would be going on? What would be happening in your perfect world? For someone, they might write down everyone's living an ecologically sustainable lifestyle. Someone else might write down everyone's taking 100% responsibility for themselves. Someone else might write down everyone's acting in a loving, harmonious, kind way with each other. Someone else might write down, everybody's being, spiritually evolved and living Christian values or living Buddhist values or whatever. So according to you, what would be happening in the perfect world? And write that down, a sentence or two. In my perfect world, everyone's living their highest vision. That's how I got to that part. Because I believe if you all lived your vision, the world would get everything it needs. All the functions would be fulfilled. So write down your version of that. Very good. Then finally, the last step is to take what you just wrote, all three steps, and combine them into one sentence. Now, one of the things that's popular right now is this idea that joy is a feedback system telling you if you're on course or not, if you're living your purpose. So remember the first step, what are two qualities you most enjoy expressing? So this thing that is your purpose should be something you really enjoy doing. And it should be bringing forward those qualities through expression to create this world that you think should be out there, that you have some responsibility to help create that by being you, doing a thing that you love to do. So see if you can combine those now into some statement, some sentence or two. My purpose is, and again, this is a first draft. You can edit this tonight, tomorrow, next week, a month from now. You can keep, that's what I want, revising it. So don't freak out about it has to be perfect right now. Just get the basics down. So what you're going to do is you're going to answer two questions. Number one, my life purpose is. Now, this is for now, and you're going to say it, whatever you came up with, see how it feels to say it out loud. And then you're going to say, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm living this purpose at a number what? So if my life purpose was to inspire and empower people to live their highest vision in the context of love and joy, I'd say I'm living that at about a 9.5. And the only thing I would say that would take it up to a 10 is sometimes I'm not always loving and joyful. And if you don't believe that, talk to Patty, talk to my wife, or a number of people tell you sometimes I can get grumpy. But generally, I'm living that purpose. But maybe your purpose is you just got in touch with it, you go, wow, I'm only living this at a 5, okay? Then the question would be, in order to make it a 10, I could what? So for me, in order to make it a 10, I could meditate a little more often. If I find myself being grumpy, just withdraw, go inside, remind myself how lucky and fortunate I am, and come back in a better mood. So whatever it is for you, if is like to bring love and harmony and joy into the world, and you're creating military-grade weapons, you might say, well, on a scale of 1 to 10, that's a 5. To be a 10, I could maybe join a peace club or something. Whatever, you get the idea. What would it take to be more in alignment with that purpose? Because here's the deal. When you're aligned with your purpose and your goals are in support of that or an expression of that purpose, life starts to flow. Life starts to get easier. There are a couple of other things I'll tell you which will also manifest that. But a lot of us are not experiencing what we want because we're not aligned with our purpose. It's like you're you're a gun and you're trying to be a water sprinkler. It just doesn't work, you know? You got to be the thing you're here to do. All right. All right, now that you've gained some clarity on what your life purpose is and done some thinking around what you could do in order to align your goals more closely with your purpose, I would like you to spend a minute visualizing what your life would look like if you were living your purpose so you can anchor that image more firmly in your mind. So, I want you to just close your eyes for a moment now. And with your eyes closed, you're the movie director. You're going to create a little movie in your mind. Some of you will see it very clearly. Some of you, it'll be more like a hazy picture, but you're going to create it of you living that purpose. What would it look like if you were fulfilling that purpose with the work you do, the way you interact with people, your job, your career, your friendships? Just go ahead and visualize that for a moment. Fill in all the details. And as you continue to visualize that, ask yourself, what would I be feeling? What emotions would I be feeling if I was living this life, fulfilling that purpose, achieving those goals and dreams, making a difference, whatever sphere of influence I choose to play in, however small or however big. And then create that feeling right now inside your body. Just like an actor or an actress, what would you be experiencing if you could create that? Very good. And then when you're ready, just open your eyes and come on back. So that's the life that we want to help you create. Now that you have that vision of your extraordinary life anchored in your mind, it's time to start making it a reality. And here are the main takeaways I want you to hold in your minds and in your hearts this week as you complete the assignments for this module and go even deeper in visualizing your extraordinary life and exploring what you need to do to make it a reality. All right, your number one takeaway is this. Ordinary people can create extraordinary lives. No matter where you are now and no matter where you want to be, you can absolutely get there. It's just a matter of taking one step after another in pursuit of your goals. The next thing I want you to remember is in order to be able to create an extraordinary life, you have to commit to it. You have to commit to the process and you have to commit to doing the work. Now, this program is designed to make it as easy as possible, but you still have to show up and do the work. I also want you to remember that it's not the goal that matters, it's who you become in the process of achieving it. Because once you become the kind of person who is capable of achieving a wildly ambitious goal, you will be able to repeat that experience over and over again all through your life. But in order to become that kind of person, you must be willing to take 100% responsibility for your life. You have to say goodbye to victim consciousness and acknowledge that you are in control of everything that happens to you. So it's time to take the driver's seat of your own life and steer it in the direction you want to go. And finally, I want you to continue to explore the idea of your life's purpose. What were you put on this earth to do? How can you use your unique gifts in a way that gives you joy, fills your life with meaning, and has a positive impact on the world around you? And when you align your goals with this purpose, everything will flow your way. Once you've come up with your life purpose that resonates deeply with you, I encourage you to share it in the Extraordinary Life Facebook group. You'll find the link in your weekly assignment if you haven't already been there. Because when you make your life purpose public, you make it more real. And the universe will conspire to help you start living it in a much deeper way. So keep these thoughts in mind as you move through this week and complete your weekly assignment. Speaking of which, I'd like you to open your calendar right now and schedule some time this week to complete your Module 1 assignment. It should take you about an hour or two to complete, and you can easily break it up over the course of several days. And by scheduling time in your calendar right now, you're making a commitment to take action. And making commitments and following through on them to take consistent forward action toward your goals is how you make your dreams come true.